All right, welcome into Gridiron Icon, the podcast. We are back. The dynamic duo. I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Preston Denard. How are we, sir? Doing well. Apparently doing well.
Well, you see how gracefully and slowly I'm doing it, because the aches and pains of the old man's back and all over. It's still there. But brother, I'm so glad we're back in the saddle again, huh?
I am too. I guess this means that I can't ask you to lay out in like you did in that epic Monday Night Football game. There's no more laying out for passes. Oh, you're still doing that?
I'm laying out, but it's a
on the couch.
Lay down on the floor, position me for the catch, and then place it in my hands.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Man's got to do what he's got to do. How are you, man?
I am great. It is great to be back. We've had a bit of a sabbatical here, folks, but we're back in the saddle doing what we do. And check out the new digs in the Denard studio.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to reveal the whole flow, probably the next show. I got to show my partner first, but This is just 1/4 of the view with my big mural in the back, Super Bowl 14, some of my buddies up there. You can see them behind me, but yeah, everything is new. It's just outstanding. So glad I got it done.
I love it. We're going to do a tour on here for our YouTube listeners at some point to look at some of the really cool memorabilia, that you have on hand.
Whatever.
Yeah, I cannot wait. But let's jump in to some subjects. There's a lot's happened since we were in.
Tons. Let's do it.
All right. There we go. The crowd roars. A lot going on in the sports world. We're just going to act like we have not been on a sabbatical for a while. Let's just jump right in. You have had a very busy last couple of seasons, spring and summer, not the least of which is a visit to the Hall of Fame as someone near and dear to you and a guest of the show in the past is entering what is the most haloed of halls for football fans, Lionel Taylor.
Yes, Lionel Taylor.
Tell us about that experience and how that came to be.
Well, I can tell you, I thought I would never be interested in going to the hall for the wrong reasons. And I got there. So the whole thing started out, there's a new category now. Outside of the inductees in the 1st of August at the Hall of Fame game and selecting former players and so on. There's also executives. There's also equipment managers, assistant coaches, medical staff, PR, all that. And so they have all those different areas that they are now recognizing the contributions and the greater accomplishments that someone has made in the NFL. And so I had the fortunate opportunity to be associated with Lionel Taylor, who went into the hall this summer. It was the last week of June. They flew me out there, put me up, and the whole thing from start to finish was just first class. It was just outstanding. And so I went on to represent Lionel. Now, how I got that opportunity, they called me and asked if I would be willing to represent Lionel Taylor. I was recommended, and I said, who recommended me? Out of, you think about his history, the Lynn Swans, the Stalwarts, the Frank Lewises, all these guys, you go back, and then he came to the Rams, and he had the Ron Jesses, Willie Millers, Billy Waddies, all these guys, and then a little old skinny guy from Tempe named Preston Denard. They chose me to represent, and 2 or 3 days before I left, Lionel called me. And, Lionel's a tough old guy. We've had him as one of our guests in the past, and you can see how he's got stories, and he's a tough guy. And he gave me a call. He literally was checking to make sure I was committed to going on his behalf. And, man, he broke down and just very emotional. You just knew it's the relationship a former player should always have with his coach. And if you have that, you have something that's unbeknownst to anybody else outside of the game of sports. And so I now have that confirmed. And so I went and represented him, stood in the fix of the whole flows of things, took photos as if I was being inducted, stood under the Hall of Fame emblem, and it was great. So here's a couple other accomplishments in being there. I wasn't the only one standing in for someone great and deserving into the hall. Todd Hewitt, who was the old equipment manager and son of Don Hewitt, who was at the Rams, original equipment manager, and Todd eventually became assistant.
And a guest on this show, if
And a
folks would like
guest
to hear
on
about
our
Todd.
show. Yeah.
Yep.
So Todd was there, and I don't know if I sent you a picture of that, Stacy, but I'm like, okay, so you got everything you need to promote that. And so Todd and I took pictures together. He stood in for his dad, Don Hewitt, who was inducted, and myself for Lionel Taylor. Two guys from the same team, same era, just a beautiful thing. And I have a great relationship with Todd and his family and all of his boys, taking pictures with them. And then last but not least, certainly the greatest accomplishment outside of Lionel was getting the chance to see Monty Kiffin before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Monty Kiffin was the other assistant coach who was recognized. And if you don't have that photo, I'll send it to you. But I had the wonderful opportunity to walk up to him. He was in a wheelchair, and he actually was hospitalized the night before in Canton, or maybe Cleveland, before they drove up. And then he came the next night for the banquet. And I got a chance to walk over to him, and you can tell he wasn't, just wasn't all there. But it was just great to be there, put my hand on his cheek, told him I loved him. Thank you. And then, of course, days later, I hear that he passed away. So the whole weekend was beautiful, captured it. And then finally, my friend, the morning that I was about to leave and shuttle back to Cleveland to catch my flight to get out of there, I woke up early, walked, we were staying downtown, walked to a coffee place 10 minutes early. It wasn't going to open until 7. So I said, I'll just walk a little bit further. There's a little quad area. I'll go sit down. Went down there, and there's this like concrete stage, kiosk all over the place promoting the Hall of Fame coming up, and restaurants and eateries all around this little sitting area. And the sitting area was all synthetic turf, and it sloped toward the stage. And they had these concrete pillars, Stacy, that were stationed outside of the sitting area all over the place. And on the side, which probably was about 6 to 8 inches wide, and probably, or say deep, and then wide, maybe both of my arm's length. Okay. And it had these names, and they had years. So the first one I was looking at was 1974 to 1977. And I kept looking. Long story short, I went back and I went back and I said, 1978. Let me look at that. Maybe he's talking about when guys came in the league. And I saw Bruce Herron's name, one of our former guests.
Oh, Bruce.
And I figured it out. But I was stunned by Bruce because his name was at 1978. He actually was drafted in 77. But if you were whenever your first active roster that you were on, that's the year that you were represented in the Hall of Fame Park, which is in downtown Canton. So I went back all the way through. I went back up to the D's, and I saw my name, Preston J. Denard, 1978. So I'm forever etched in stone in the city of Canton. Just a beautiful time. So that's all that happened. It was great, beautiful people.
That is so cool. This is just a total surprise to you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get a picture of that? I do want photos of that. We want to share that with the listeners. I got photos. So fun.
I'll make sure you get everything. It's really cool.
Please do.
Really
I will add, for anyone listening, if you would like to see how incredibly dapper Mr. Denard looked for this event, you can visit our Gridiron Icon Twitter, where there's a picture of him and his handsome son there at the Hall of Fame. It is up there online. Yeah. So that is very exciting. What an honor, man. Monty Kiffin. Father of the, he was kind of the father of the Tampa 2 defense, right? He gave the Rams fits.
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, Lane was there too. Got a chance to meet him for the second time, because I met him when he was a lot younger and Monty was our coach. But yeah, met him for the first time in years. And it was very somber. It was really beautiful. His whole family was there. So beautiful time.
I couldn't help but think, as you were telling that story, right back to Rosie Greer. Mm-hmm. Like, what do we got to do to? Yep. I'm really glad Monty got to experience that on whenever way he could. Yeah. Rosie Greer should be there. Whole nother subject for another day. But we're losing some of these legends, and what a great time for you. But Lionel Taylor. Mm-hmm. to your point, please go watch it or listen to that interview if you haven't seen that, folks. Uh, the names of the wide receivers that man has coached and his own accomplishments,
His own accomplishments.
and
Yeah.
he chose you, man.
Yeah.
That
Sure. I mean, that's how cool is that,
that's
right? Love him.
that. What an honor!
And you
What
know what
an
else he
honor!
told me? He told me after we all got our emotions together, he says, well, don't go out there and screw it up. He's still a coach.
He's still telling you when to break off your route and everything. Like, he's yelling at
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. What a great trip down memory lane for you.
Yes, it was.
The Hall of Fame. What was your impressions of, was that your first time visiting there?
It was the first time, and
Okay.
it's really, really unique. They got a lot of stuff. They got their gift shop down there, and any and everything you want, you can get. And but
Imagine
as
that.
you walk through the hall, it's upstairs. You keep going up, and you can come all the
Really?
way down like a exit in a indoor parking structure. But it's cool because what they have in there is not only the bus, but they of all the different Hall of Fame inductees. And what Lionel and the other categories are, they have plaques with their likeness on the plaques on the walls, which is
Oh,
down the hall from the bus of the players being inducted. And behind that wall, still in sight, you can see the HBCU schools,
oh,
their Hall of Fame, which is also within the NFL or National Football League Hall of Fame.
I did
And
not know
so
that.
yeah, and the
Very
foundation
cool.
is really that whole campus. It's a huge campus. It's got like a high school on that campus that I think the hall is actually taken over. They've got football fields galore. They hold flag competitions, maybe some tackle competition on. I mean, a lot of fields, probably 8, 9 fields they got surrounding them. I mean, it's football heaven, and
Yeah,
everything
I love it.
related to that community is football. So it
That
was
is
great.
so fun. And your son got to experience this with you
Yeah.
on
Well,
some
no,
level?
no, no.
No.
Actually, the picture you were referencing earlier is from the
Oh,
New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame,
I'm
where
sorry.
I sung the national anthem. But
Where
the NFL Hall of Fame, I got to enjoy that all by myself.
you could tell I've been in a daze for months. There you go.
Mm,
Yes, thank you.
that's all right.
By the way, you notice how we just slipped that in there, folks, that he sang the national anthem. Who knew the
Yeah.
number 88
Who
had a
knew?
singing voice? A few people.
Oh.
I can point you to some YouTubes if people want to hear
If
that.
they want to, if they really want to hear it, they
It
can go there.
exists. It exists. Well, what an incredible honor, man, for
Yeah,
you
it was
to
outstanding.
be chosen by just an incredible player. And God, that's really, really, really exciting.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mhm.
Well, listen, a lot has happened in the sports world since we have
Ooh.
been jawing about it. I mean, I'll start just with a few words on college football. Just an incredible game out of the Oregon Ducks versus
Mhm.
the Buckeyes.
Yep.
Must have been fun, as I know that there's people in your house that are also fans of the Ducks, as there are here.
Oh yeah.
What a game, man.
Oh, outstanding game. As a matter of fact, this football season is interesting. And you know
Very.
why? Because right out of the chute, the games matter. And
Yeah,
the one loss matter.
big
And
time.
what's really most important about all of this is you're getting with all of these schools that have transferred over into all these different conferences, you're getting competition, not here right out of the gate, but up here. And it's competitive, and it's the top 15 playing each other right out of the gate. And so I don't know if any undefeated teams are coming into the playoffs. And if they are, they're going to be your second tier undefeated teams. It
Yeah.
might be, well, it can't be Boise State now, but I mean, they'll go in with one loss. Oregon is just, man, they're a juggernaut. They are just, you really don't know how good Gabriel is. He just
Ooh.
keeps performing, keeps performing, keeps performing. He's right on time with his throws. They have talent everywhere on the field. And most of all, that stands out is their speed, whether they're
Yeah.
the big guys or the specialists or whatever it might be. They have speed all over the field. And so that makes Oregon stand out, and you can see where they're ranked. But what a great start to the college football season.
It's been fun. The games have been just I don't think anybody thought Ohio State and Alabama would already have losses. I
Yeah.
mean,
Alabama's going to have a
wow.
second loss coming here soon.
Yeah, there's
Hear me.
oh, we got bold
Oh, yeah.
predictions are back.
And I'm not even
Okay.
going to tell you the game, but you heard me say it's coming up.
I tend to
Oh,
believe
yeah.
you. I've watched them. They're definitely. It's got to be rough
Yeah.
being DeBoer now,
Yeah.
picking up for Saban, and it's kind of showing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Oh, yeah.
And to your point, with all of the portal transfers and whatnot,
Oh, yeah.
it looks like we've seen a little bit of a watered down talent base for what was a juggernaut. But
Yeah.
God, what a great college football season we're having
Well,
already.
and on top of that, you look at some of the schools that you have never thought would come out on fire like they are coming out now. But that's
Yeah.
because this great opportunity, well, the NIL is really chugging people along. And so what I'm referencing, Nevada's not going to have a problem trying to bring people in there and paying them. Let me tell you, they got too much revenue going on all
Yeah.
around them that supports that program. So that's why you see a very successful a running Rebel football team coming out of shoot first. And still, even after the dynamic news of their starting quarterback leaving because, I'm sure they made a promise to him and it was a timely promise. And the kid didn't see what he was expecting to see in a timely fashion and he left. I don't blame him. I do think we need to tighten that ship in all of NCAA activity as far as football and NIL. But as far as performances, oh my goodness, you got the UNLVs, you got the Boise States who consistently are coming out winning games, but you got teams like UNLV coming out of the chute and really playing well. And there's a lot of other teams across the country that are surprising because they're winning and they're undefeated early on. And probably the time they meet their match, if they're eligible and they qualify for the playoffs after winning their conference, and they can be a part of the playoffs, because I think is it 2 or 4 teams that are outside of that Big Five or whatever it is.
Boy, I got to tell you, you're taxing me there on the college game, but I
know they have an opportunity though.
Right, and that's in a lot of ways that's a really good thing. You brought up Boise State just as we potpourri on college football for a few minutes. That running back, that kid from Boise State, Genty.
Oh, Genty.
Whoa.
He is awesome.
Oof. Man,
awesome,
that kid,
baby.
He's a player, and I would love to see a kid from a school like that get into the Heisman conversation. That and the kid from Oregon, Gabriel. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Got some big games this weekend, and I've missed talking with you about it. So here we are.
Yeah.
Not going to go too deep into our Rams this week. It's been a little rocky. Let's just call it what it is. Injuries have decimated the roster.
Yeah.
The defense is trying to find its way with a bunch of young guys and a new coordinator, but it's been a little painful. It's been a little painful to watch at times. And if we lose to the Raiders on Sunday, I think you can call this season we can close the book. Yeah,
well, unfortunately, if they did, it's going to be tough to come out of that because you need your healthy players. They're very critical to the game, and that lets you know that's why it's important that you invest the practice time and other time in other players getting a chance to perform. Now, some of the young guys that are getting a chance are taking advantage of it, but you need to have. You need to have that experience. You need to have that competitive experience to know how to go and compete and command your performance in any game at that matter. But, those guys that come along, they're going to end up playing very well second half of the season. See if some of those guys can come back and help solidify it. But, yes, it's a tough haul right now for the Rams.
Yeah. Hold on tight, Rams fans. It's tough.
Hold on tight.
Real quick, as a former wide receiver at that level, Cooper Kupp, they're talking about him playing this weekend. He's had several ankle injuries now. Serious talk for a minute. How does a wide receiver play on a bad ankle?
Not good at all. Not good at all. The only one that I've seen do that is John Jefferson back in 1975 when they were going for the national championship. And they were playing against Nebraska. And he ran a 7 route and he scored a touchdown limping and hobbling, running a route like this. and he called it.
Really?
Nobody can do that. It's just tough for a wide receiver to competitively pound it, because think of this. First of all, you're coming out of your start, so you're putting blood and pressure and force on that ankle. Then you run the route and you're gathering and you're planning and you're sprinting out of that. And that's what they call burst. And once you're on the drive is just power, getting speed. And then whatever else happens with the tackle and the play and the catch, that thing continues. So what do guys do to try to eliminate that? They go and get a shot, which eventually at the end of the game, when your ankle's on fire now, but you can't feel it, you go in and you ice it down, you calm it down, and then you might get another shot just to help heal it, start healing it. I wasn't about all that. That's why I say it's tough for receivers to do that. And it depends on where the sprain is. But if it's outside, inside, you pretty much could probably run on it. But if it's in the front, all the way in that tissue to the outside, underneath the little outside portion of the ankle, oh, man, it's tough for the kids to come off of. So it's going to be tough. You know, you could try it, but I wouldn't expect him to be Superman on that. That's for sure.
At this point, because I love Cooper Kupp, hope he retires in horns.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, he's been injured a lot, and I've never understood how a wide receiver. Look, you blow out a shoulder as a receiver, so I can kind of get it. An ankle, that's that's everything you do on every play. Maybe he's a decoy this weekend, but we'll see. Rams Raiders, folks, for those former LA people who hanging on to that this week. Okay, we're going to stray into a little controversy. See how we come back? We just come back on fire. We're going to leave the football field and we're going to enter the gym for a moment, and let's discuss volleyball. Volleyball seems to be a rather hot topic in the sports world, and it's kind of close to home for you in New Mexico.
Yes. Yeah.
We've had some big news this week, and as we try to delicately stray into some controversy from here and there, what do you make of this situation? And it was really you prior to starting the show that told me that there possibly might be a volleyball match this weekend, despite one of the teams wanting to sit it out due to some of the gender politics going on in this country.
Yes. Well, that's a sensitive topic. And, there's a lot of people that don't agree with the participation of this San Jose State player who is transgender. And I believe, if I'm correct, the name is Blair Fleming. But anyway, I won't even go deep into that concept, but just the bottom line that I think they play University of New Mexico this weekend, if not tonight or tomorrow. Right. And as far as I know, it's been big news whether they play them or not, as an outcry against this young person who's transgender. But you also have the argument of those who say, yes, our players should be able to play. It doesn't matter who it is. Now, when you start talking about fairness and equality and so on, obviously men are built stronger and different than women. That's not to say women can't do or perform or accomplish equal outstanding accomplishments as men in their own right. Has nothing to do with that. But it does mean have you seen some of those men in volleyball spike the ball?
Dude.
There's not that many women that can do that. Now, there's quite a few that can, if you stand in front of them, they'll knock the hell out of you.
Yeah. I don't want to get hit by one of those female volleyball players either. No.
And let me
destroy me.
University of Pittsburgh got some ladies that can ball. But
really? Okay.
I can tell you, brother, Texas, we can go down the list, but that's the whole argument about San Jose State. Is it right? Is it wrong? Obviously, San Jose State is not thinking anything about it. They've got this player playing for them. Nobody said anything. They're probably worried about legally, do they keep this person from playing or not? But I think there should be an understanding and generically that I don't agree with it. If anybody were to ask me, I just don't agree with it because I don't think there's a fairness spectrum in that play at all. I don't care what you decide to do with yourself, your body, your whole makeup, but I just think it's unfair to the ladies who've contributed all their life in developing their skills and fighting Title IX and equality and accomplishments. And now we're going to infuse that with, oh, we're going to stick a transgender person in there just because legally they may or may not have a right to do it. But I just think it's athletically and emotionally and everything else related to that unfair to these ladies that spend their entire life developing their skills based on their makeup and their design to be the best player they can be. And then you bring in this other dynamic that just diffuses that whole great athletic journey.
Yeah. And listen, I'll be the controversial one. I think it's absurd. And let me give you a reason why I say that. You performed at a very high level and broke records at New Mexico. In your college career, what would have happened if the other team showed up with a female as a running back up against your defense during a college football game?
Now, this is going to be totally different. Now, remember, I said transgender.
I love it.
Okay? Check this out. If a young lady thought she could come out there and play a certain position, now I wouldn't encourage my daughters to go out there and play football with men. I wouldn't encourage, if I had daughters, but my granddaughters or anybody else's daughter, I wouldn't encourage that.
Right.
But I would accept it if she wanted to be, and I'm not going to say not a linebacker or anything like that, but as a specialist, because New Mexico had Katie Nida, who was one of the first kickers for females who went out there and played. Wasn't physical or anything, but she had the opportunity to accomplish it. I reserve the right to compliment that freedom if a young lady wanted to play offensive guard or nose tackle or something like that. I just know the makeup of men in those trenches. If a young lady truly wanted to do it, I can't argue against her. Let her go do it. If you ask me my opinion, that's what I think. But to confuse the flavor and to unfairly stick somebody in there under the emphasis that, hey, they qualify because they are now, that's where I separate the whole argument.
Right. And part of the very interesting conversation, I might add, because part of this has nothing to do with sexism or chauvinism or politics or anything. This is strictly, we're talking biology here.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the female athletes on the other volleyball teams have expressed real concern, and some have been hurt.
Yes.
Physically hurt by the transgender players that are coming in and spiking the ball and whatnot. Can anyone fathom, if you put it in any other sport, whether it's right, wrong, legal or not, a female running back running up against the defensive line at the University of Alabama?
Tell me about that.
It's about a safety concern, right? There's safety issues here.
Heck yeah. Shoot, I wouldn't care if it was University of Redlands. It's still a safety issue.
It's a safety issue. That's it. So all the emotion and all that stripped aside, we have to, in my opinion, as a society, look at safety issues. It's been refreshing to see some of the athletes who've worked so hard, some of the female athletes speak out and go, look, this person hits harder, and it really hurts and people get hurt, concussions. And so it's an interesting conversation, one that you and I don't tend to stray into these subjects all that much, but
Right.
It's kind of impacting one of your teams, your alma mater and whatnot. It's going to be interesting to see. I got to believe if this happens tonight or this weekend that we're going to be watching it on, the sports highlight shows.
I'm sure.
We're going to be hearing about it.
Oh, yeah, because there's been I think 4 schools that have not played them.
Isn't that wild?
Or forfeited the game, and they feel strongly about it. And I can't fault them for that position. But does this person have the right? Maybe, I don't know. But
I guess
everybody has a personal opinion about it. I'm not going to stand in the way of this going on. But I know one thing: if my daughter had to play against this person, and she's got to either block that spike or be in front, I just wouldn't be happy about it. But on the brighter side of the entire story of volleyball, oh my gosh, you guys need to watch Pittsburgh play. Not only are they the most talented volleyball team in the country, they are also the most gorgeous volleyball team.
Oh, okay. I'm watching.
The most, yeah, I got to throw that out, but the most athletic and the most competitive. These ladies will bite your head off. They
Oh, I
got
love it.
toughness. They've got it all. And see, I'm a volleyball guy, so I know it.
Oh, so am I. I love it.
Penn State, Louisville, even Louisville. I'm liking Louisville around. They've got 2 losses this year. Creighton is in the top 10, if you can believe that. And then you got Texas, who's normally 1, 2, or 3, and Wisconsin and Purdue. All of them have great programs. And then Oregon's in there at 13-2. They're ranked 11. And then Arizona State is sneaking in there in the top 15. So there's some great play. But if you look at the Big East, you look at Pittsburgh and then the Big 10 and well, now these days it's the Big 20 and the Pac 15. But yeah, volleyball is off to a great start, getting ready to head into NCAA playoffs. But if you don't get a chance to watch University of Pittsburgh, oh my gosh, you're going to miss some of the most talented ladies and the most dominant ladies that play the game. They play. I've never seen, and I like volleyball, and I've seen a lot of teams in the past, but I've never seen a team of volleyball young ladies play as a team. Every play, everybody's involved in the strategy, and you never know who's going to end up getting that shot to spike the ball. Just beautiful play by them.
Oh, I love it, man. We've never had volleyball talk. I'm a big volleyball fan, too. I had the chance in the past. Well, I went to some expeditions, got to meet Karch Karai and some of the epic male volleyball players of the past. I haven't met any female, but wow. Okay, University of Pittsburgh, folks, strong endorsement.
Strong
from 88 over here. All right. It gives me something to watch late at night. I'm going to check it out. And if they're cute, well, that doesn't hurt, you know.
Oh, they're good looking ladies.
Yeah, of course they are.
They can ball. And one of them looks like she could be my daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously she's cute, right?
Not when I get a sip of tea.
Right when he goes for the tea on our YouTubers. All right. I love it. Well, this is awesome, man. We're back in the saddle. Got a little potpourri of subjects to get us rolling again here on this show.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Same here. Looking forward to seeing you. And folks, if you didn't realize this, that's my partner right there. We've been doing this going on 2 years. And you know what? November 28th. My birthday. I've never done this before. I'm on a plane, folks. I'm flying on my birthday, which is Thanksgiving morning, and I'm going to see my friend and meet him in person for the very first time. Can you guys believe that?
That's kind of weird.
Cool.
It's kind of weird, but we're gonna have a little bit of a celebration here. So
I'm all excited about it. Well, anyway,
hold on tight.
Yeah, the emphasis is going to an Oregon game, taking my boys to an Oregon game, but I'm excited about that. But see you soon, my friend. Thank you. We're back in the saddle.
Absolutely. I might add, not just any Oregon game. This is Ducks Huskies. It's like legendary rivalry
Fortunate
in Oregon. Yeah. So we'll see you soon. But folks, thanks for listening in on Gridiron Icon this week. We will see you next week. In the meantime, be safe and be well out there, and we will see you soon.